My mom has special candles every year for Christmas. I bet yours did too. And today we're going to bring back those warm memories with a handmade Christmas card with a candle using the Stampin' Up! Sweetest Time stamp set and Sweetest Borders dies. I fell in love with one of the Sweetest Time samples from the August through December 2020 Stampin' Up! Mini catalog and made it. And it's beautiful, but probably more for an avid stamper. So I designed one that's simpler, but still quite lovely with its Christmas candle. I'm Shelly Godby, the owner and CEO of Stamping Smiles, and for 19 years I've been teaching others how to create their own hand stamped smiles. So I'll show you the avid stamper one, but stick around to the end because my Simply Lovely one, well, I'm going to show you a stepped up version as well. Here's a closer view of the Sweetest Time stamp set and the coordinating Sweetest Borders dies. When you order the two of these together using the special bundle item number I've listed right here, you'll save 10% on both. Fabulous. And so these border dies are pretty cool. You'll see this one in action today. And let me show you the card that I fell in love with from the January through June 2020 Stampin' Up! Mini catalog. Isn't that pretty? Now mine's a little bit different in that they use garden green and I use shaded spruce. I just really like that. And then we got the pretty embossing and so this looks like it could be difficult. It isn't. I'll have a link to my blog post with this card that shows you pictures of how I did the greenery. Okay, so, but I have another card for you that's simply elegant. So we need to start stamping. So let me set aside the dies and grab some. I have here Whisper White cardstock. Whenever you stamp on white or cream cardstock, you really want to get Whisper White or Very Vanilla cardstock. They're designed for stamping that has a smooth, tight finish so you get crisp, clean images, and you absolutely want that. So we're going to emboss with embossing powder, and so before we do anything, I'm going to take this. This is the embossing powder prep. We used to have the embossing buddy and Stampin' Up! Discontinued it. And what this is, we're going to rub this over it, and that's going to help any oil in my skins, because the embossing powder will want to stick to any of my fingerprints or anything. It's going to help eliminate that so you get a good embossed image and you don't have it everywhere. All right, and so we're going to do the candles. I only want the center one. So you want a pigment ink if you can. And the Versamark is great pigment. It's a permanent, but it's thick and it's slower to dry. So we'll ink up this center. And I'm catching some of the other, but that's just the way it works. Okay, and I'll come over here. Well, I might as well go in the center. So I don't go off onto my mat, and we'll press everywhere. So this is a watermark stamp. And if it was on colored cardstock, it would be a shade or two darker. It's very subtle, but it's awesome for embossing. Okay, so I believe we have a good image, and I can see it myself turning into light. I don't know that you can, but it's going to magically appear in just a second. I have the gold Stampin' Emboss powder, and so I just have a paper plate to catch the excess, and we'll sprinkle this on. If you have it embossed, this part always thrills me. I tap it off and it sticks. It sticks to the image. Look at that. All right, so I'm putting on a little bit more because, and it caught some of the other, but that's okay. That is just remarkable to me. The first time I saw it, I was just amazed at that. I've never seen anything like it. So, but we're not done. Now it's going to get even better because we're going to use the heat tool. We're going to melt this powder. All right, so there are two settings on here. The first one I use quite often to dry some ink so I can move on. And so that first setting. The second one is what you want. All right, so it's more intense heat, but unlike a hair dryer, it's not going to just blow the powder off. And watch this. So I hold it till it gets started, and then you just keep going. And look at that beautiful shiny gold. You know what? I'm going to catch these other two too on the side. Oh, and that is just so dramatic when it goes from that darker to this beautiful sheen. Oh, gracious. I just love it. So I hold it in the light to see that I got it all. I don't need to, but I see I didn't get some of that. I could easily go back and finish that if I wanted. I'm not wanting that part, so it's okay. But I've even gone back the next day when I saw something was still powdery. So I want just this candle. So I'm going to use my paper snips. Love these things. We've had these forever. I have several pairs. They are just the nicest scissors for this detail cutting and what some people call fussy cutting. I was combining the two. So look at that. I'm just going to leave a little bit of a white border. All right, so when you go around corners, let me get rid of that. It's better you just follow it and actually turn your paper. You don't want a bunch of short, choppy cuts. Look at that. That's easy, right? Very nice. Because the short little choppy cuts, you end up with a bunch of short, choppy, well, cuts. You know, it's raggedy. It's not a good look. All right, let me get that out of my way. And then we'll just finish this off. So I'm going around that corner. So I hold the scissors and I turn the paper and let that do it. That works out just fabulously. All right, so we have that done. So now a little bit of stamping. So I have some more Whisper White cardstock. And for my my beautiful Christmas candle, I want some of the holly leaves. We have 2 different size holly leaves. So Shaded Spruce. Stayed with the Shaded Spruce. It's such a beautiful color, and especially for Christmas. And so let's go ahead and stamp. And I just want to press everywhere because I want a nice image. I want a good solid image. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. We have the smaller holly leaf. Come over here. There we go. And so we're done with that for now. So I'm going to do a little push, pull on that lip, and close. And then I have Real Red for my holly berries. So we'll pick that lid up, slide it in, and the berries. So in the Sweetest Borders dies, you have more than just those border dies. We have dies for all of this. So what I need next is my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So I've got my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, so now we need to build up the sandwich to get the appropriate thickness to cut the thin metal dies. So we'll start with plate number 1. There we go. And then because it needs to be a little bit thicker for the thin metal dies, we need plate number 2. And if you forget what I told you, they're printed on here. Okay, the instructions are printed on here. All right, and then next we need plate number 3. This is called a cutting pad to cut into. And then we have our cardstock, Shaded Spruce, beautiful, beautiful. And then this border die, the holly border die. So this raised edge, that's the cutting edge. We'll place that down. All right. And we'll finish our sandwich with a second plate number 3. All right, so you get all 4 of those plates plus plate number 4. This is a specialty plate, and you use that for the 3D embossing. Do you see how deep that embossing is? The 3D is really, they're very cool. So you need this for that, but it comes with the purchase of a Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Now, we had a magnetic cutting plate that I would have used. It's been discontinued. You know, I've shown you in other videos how it was starting to bow. Well, Stampin' Up! Decided to turn that off, and so we're back to doing without it. But it's remarkable how the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine does these intricate dies. I can't wait to show you how it cut through this. Look at that, it just falls out. It just cuts through it like butter. And so I'll carefully take these out. I don't want to just rip on them. I'll carefully do that. But we've got a little bit more. Remember, we did some stamping. So I can cut from either directions. I just like to go from left to right. Feels more natural to me. And so here's what we stamped. And now we need these open dies so we can center them around. Right, so I don't have the magnet to hold it in place anymore. So I need to center that on here. And I can't see too well. There we go. I think that's looking really good. And so then you have some options. I'm using washi tape just to hold that die in place. It's not a terribly strong adhesive. You can use a Post-it note. Painter's tape would work because, right, that's meant to just need to hold that on. That's a little bit too close. And so then I have for the berries. There we go. A Post-it note works really well too, and you can use it more times than you would think. Okay, and put that on. So to finish our sandwich, another number 3. So I'm really hoping they get that magnetic cutting plate issue figured out. And if you did order one, they will send you what's called a coupon code for the value of it for you to use on a future order. And so here we go. Oh, look at that. Awesome. So I need to do the other one. So we have our hand trimming and die cutting done, and look at this gorgeous border. That's what you have left after you just carefully take the pieces out. Oh my goodness. What I wanted were the pieces that fell out, but you'll see this again used in just a bit. So what I have here is some more Whisper White cardstock, and I'm going to place my candle where I want it before I stamp my greeting, because I don't want to adhere everything down and then mess up. But our beautiful holly leaves, I'm just going to place these two because they'll make they come down a little bit. All right, so now I know where to stamp. So again, with the shaded spruce, we'll pick up that lid, slide it in, and then our greeting is from the Sweetest Time stamp set, Bright and Peaceful Wishes to You This Christmas. So let's ink that up. And all right, I think about right here will look fabulous. Very nice. All right, so we're done. So a little push. And one more thing to stamp. I have Crushed Curry, classic Stampin' Pad. We have a flame. All right. And we'll come about right here. Fantastic. Doesn't that look good? Okay. So now we can go ahead and adhere all of this. I thought about Stampin' Dimensionals, but I thought, no, I didn't want the flame in the back and this up front. So what I have here is my Stampin' Seal. Okay. Very, very nice. Bring that back here. Yeah. And so the hand trimming still gives it some dimension, even though I didn't put dimensionals behind it. And the smaller holly leaf. That's some good adhesive. Isn't this going together easily? And then our berries, I like how they all die cut together. You could use mini glue dots there if that would be easier for you. So our little berries. And then on the back of each of these, a little bit of adhesive. We're going to tuck these in and behind. Just help fill it in. Just so pretty. Oh my goodness. Another one over here, and they go in different directions, so that's pretty nice. Looking good. And we need a third one because we don't want antler ears. Or antlers. They're not antler ears, antlers. It's getting to be deer hunting season here in northern Michigan. So I guess I'm thinking about that. There we go. I want that tucked in a little bit. I don't want that as tall as the others. There we go. Bring this up a little bit. Once I'm happy, then I do all the pressing. Okay, so now, oh my goodness, this gorgeous shaded spruce ribbon from the holiday catalog. We're going to, so soft, so elegant, tie this around. And just a simple knot. A little bit longer than I need. I don't want to waste it. A bow would be pretty, but boy, that would be bulky. Where this is not, this is bulky enough to get into a card. But don't you just love how the Stampin' everything, the cardstock, the ink, the accessories coordinate, so it's just so pleasing to the eye. Things aren't clashing. You know, people who get them may not know exactly why. They just will know your cards are beautiful when you stay with the Stampin' Up! Colors. Okay, so like that fishtail, here's how you do this. We'll fold this over. If you fold it in half, then it's even on both sides. And we'll give that a little trim, a little angle right there. And I just love that fishtail. Most of the time I do the angle cut, but that's really pretty on here. And because of the ribbon, this isn't going to allow it to lay flat. So we need something extra strong. And for that, we'll use the mini glue dots. There we go. So you take these out, peel that back. I try to keep that trimmed down until I can see them in the light. Take your paper to the dot. What we're wanting to do is keep it nice and sticky. And so if we touch with our fingers, you know, that oil in our hands is going to make them not so sticky. There we go. And so I have more shaded spruce cardstock here. And it's cut only an 1/8 inch smaller. So that means I have to be careful putting this on because I only have a 1/16 of a border all the way around. All right. And just like the Stampin' Seal, I don't press until I'm pleased. I'm just looking. Oh, okay, that's looking really good. It just needs a little bit of hint of color. And then I'm also using shaded spruce for the base. And then I have the, I believe this is 'Tis the Season designer series paper. Isn't this gorgeous? So more Stampin' Seal. Oh, I like the color on this. This is a pretty side too, but for this card. And so I'll have a link to my blog post with all the measurements so you can make this card too. Okay. It'll be under the video, the link, or if you're watching this on my blog, scroll down and you'll see it. There we go. And so now, oh, I just love this. We're going to use my favorite accessory ever, Stampin' Dimensionals. I know people think accessory is bling, right? But wow, this just adds so much to it. Instead of just laying it flat, it pops it up a little bit, these foam adhesive dots, and it just dresses it up. It's almost hard to believe how much difference that can make. So see what I'm doing? I'm pressing down with my thumbnail, makes the edge pop up. Super easy then to get these off. Off of the dimensional, maybe not me. There we go. And I'm not going to center it, which is unusual for me, but I want to show more of that paper, or come over here off center a little bit, but I am looking for the same distance from top to bottom. That is just simply elegant, isn't it? Oh my goodness. So the first card that made me fall in love with the bundle is this one. And then this, pretty quick and easy to do, right? But I got to show you my stepped up version. That piece that we cut out, isn't this gorgeous? So, that's just over there. And so then I used a larger piece of the designer series paper instead of a strip. I know, how do you pick? I mean, I like this. I mean, I just fell in love with that whole border anyway, but this would use less paper so you could do more, or you could do some of both. Just absolutely, simply gorgeous Christmas candle card. If you'd like to make my easier and lovely Christmas candle card with the Sweetest Time stamp set or the stepped up version, all the supplies are listed below the video and available to order now in my online store, www.shopwithshelly.com. I'm Shelly Godby, teaching you how to create hand stamped smiles. Thanks for watching.